Hello and welcome to a Christmas waffle. Is everybody sitting comfortably? Then we shall begin. Every waffle here down in Waffleville liked Disney holidays a lot, but John, who lived up north from Waffleville, did not. John hated Florida the whole holiday season. Please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on quite right. It could be perhaps his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason, you see, was his trip report was still short by over a week. Now, Jill and Peter were similar. They loathed the Orlando cheer and all the shiny and sparkly props that surface ear to ear. They disliked the smiling and hugging, the merch and other nonsense. They despised the round-the-world drinking, but they did like to dance. They've got a grinchy grudge with Disney, I'm led to believe, and it may be down to postponing their trip to Tokyo Disney Sea. Claire is an enigma to her Mickey distaste, but all the same, she says the place is one giant disgrace. She sneers at the dining plan and all of the trimmings. She covers her eyes and ears to avoid holiday wishes. It's not clear why a meet and greet will make grinchy Claire scour, but most say it's due to her house's regular loss of power. Sammy had a grudge against the big man on top, although she didn't mind Roy or the Imagineers or the Bobs. There's one guy on site gets her weak at the knees, but the magical Walt Disney ain't Spidey, you see. Though this isn't the cause of Sammy being rude, they say it's because Walt still got more subs on YouTube. Ben and Becca post many things about Magic's Floridian home, but they don't contain niceties, just abuse and a moan. They block YouTube channels that play any Randy Newman. They roll their eyes at the Sherman Brothers, Phil Collins and Elton John. He played at their wedding, but they still won't change their view. And for Disney songs at Christmas, it's bar humbug and boo. Why this hostility towards Go the Distance and Let It Go? Well, someone saw Alan Menken on Splash Mountain in a poncho. Now, as the presenter of this tale, you may ask my opinion. Do I share these views and prefer the other park with the Minions? Well, whether or not I'm opposed to the Fab Five, it's my job to help these wafflers love Disney again this Christmas time. So let's start with a feature and look to reverse this aversion. Let's get tears in our eyes like when Marlin says, "Bye, son." Let's dig deep in our hearts and search out those happy festive memories. Think long and hard about that last smile saying goodbye to the castle as you had to leave. Regale me if you will, although it may be hard to do. Please share your Disney Christmas and any tips of how we could plus it too. So wafflers, let's lift our spirits and share any Christmas memories we might have to try and regain and save our Christmas cheer for Disney. Let's see. John, let's start with you.
First off, what a great introduction to the show, Lloyd. I'm going to say, what a really lovely, lovely way of introducing Christmas 2020, the year that we all want to forget.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, I'm going to take us back in time. You know, my personal Christmas memory takes us back to times where we actually thought that summers in Florida were sort of far too hot to deal with, and we went with two very young kids. And you know something, it's a time that you really, really want to be in Disney. It's a time that if you've never been during the festivities over Christmas, over New Year, I've got to say it's amazing. We all as a family, we all talk about the 2 years we did in 2008, 2009, where it was truly magical. And with kids who were so young, it was a time where, you know, it was our first proper trips there. And we missed so much. We actually, to be honest, we learnt a load because we didn't plan. And we ended up there on Christmas Day. And yeah, we knew it was going to be busy. We knew it was going to be something that we'd never experienced before. And you know something, we still look back and you still want to be back in those days. So I don't know. There's just so much about it. It is the most magical time of the year. And from this whole soundtrack that accompanies your holiday there. It's everything. The parades, I've got to say, away back in the day, and I know we're all sort of looking at different types of parades at the moment, but it was amazing. And we've got pictures. I've got pictures and video, because actually it was after the 2 Christmas trips I actually started writing about rather than videoing the kids, and it was a real shame, because actually if it had been the other way round, I think it would have been a better balance, because at the time the software from the video that we had wasn't any good. So we've got like sort of segments of video that just I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. And yet we're looking back on it, and we've got the kids sort of on my shoulders waving at Santa on the Christmas parade and just saying thank you for the prezzies on Christmas Day. And do you know something? As a dad, and your kid is just yelling at the top of their voice saying thank you, Santa. Christmas don't get any better than that. Oh, Ben, you're going to kill me. Ben. No, don't. I'm gonna tear up.
Oh,
That's it. You're going to be dead. They're going to kill you for that.
No, do you know something, Claire? That is the most beautiful moment. And Santa at Disney was something that we didn't really know about, and we saw this queue, and you see the hut, you join the queue, and you're just like, oh yeah, okay, it's just. And you go and join the queue to see Santa at different places throughout the whole world, in your local town and stuff like that. We didn't. We joined the queue. We met Santa, and I know I've said this before on the podcast, and it's really hard to describe to other people, but we actually met Santa. As 2 adults, we met Santa, and from that, certainly our second Christmas onwards, we've never been to see any other Santa, because we actually did have the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, where you believe. And if you watch, it was incredible. I can't. I don't know. I knew you were killing me, Ben. Really, as someone who never struggles for words, but the picture of me 2 kids there, and it really was. It was a moment we all go back to. It's a moment now. My kids are grown up. We do apologise to them for not coming to our local stores for that nice, lovely present from the elves as you leave the store. Which I'm not going to make a flippant comment of. I'm desperately trying not to. But it was different, and it completely blew me away, I've got to say. And it's something that if you watch Polar Express as an adult and you start to get that whole sort of feeling, I made people that I used to work with watch Polar Express, and they still do. And I'll get a text sort of early December saying, we've just watched Polar Express, and those whole words of believe just have rung home, and it's your fault again. And you make me cry again.
never seen it. Oh.
Me neither.
Yeah.
What?
No, I've never seen it.
I'll put it on the list for this year.
Yes,
No.
I've never seen it.
I'll do that
Got to
too.
watch it.
No.
Got to watch
seen
it.
Maybe that could be our first watch party.
Oh
Yeah.
my word. Really?
That would be
You know-
cool.
you know what? Oh, I'm dumbstruck. Really?
Yep, not
Yeah.
seen it.
Am I allowed to swear, Ben?
No,
No.
In
Not
your
yet.
head. Swear in your
Will you,
head.
Ben?
Okay.
I know we're recording it after 9 o'clock, but
But no.
So, John, do you think you're more emotional in the minute with Santa there, or at the end of Finding Nemo the musical?
Nemo every time.
All right, okay.
Nemo every time. But that's
Santa's close.
That's going back. That's going back on other stuff that we talked about.
Yeah,
The Christmas stuff and the Santa bit, and the kids being the age they were, was just it was even the photograph. There's a sparkle. There's, you couldn't make it any better. Sorry, I'm harping on about something I didn't really want to talk about tonight as well, because Disney just comes alive, and the whole Christmas bit for us, and I know I'm guilty of this because I go back to things that are not there anymore. I talk about Spectrum Magic. I talk about Wishes. I have to talk about the Osborne lights, because I've got to say I'm a great music fan, and to have a whole part of what was in the studios just become just a hub of complete excitement, just based on the lights that you were watching and actually the music that was playing. And if I've got to say, I bought 3 CDs from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra just based on the music that they were playing, and it was just like it was magical. And we only went for 2 Christmases, and it's this is going back some, and the whole experience. I'm not wanting to just sort of jump in on other people's experience, and there's so much out there. But for me, there was the music, there was Santa, and the Christmas Day parade was just beautiful, because there's the very final float as it comes down through Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day. And if you're lucky enough to get in there, Santa's the last one, and he's on that float. And like I started off saying, with your kids on your shoulder and they're shouting, "Thank you, Santa, for their Christmas presents." Life doesn't get much better as a dad than that.
Oh. That's one of my major regrets, that I'll never be able to see Spectrum the Electrical Light Parade. No, what is it called?
Osborne lights.
After we've done it once, and the best, we were there on its final year.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad that it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Just look at Jill and Peter's tree this year.
Yeah, we're going to try and compete.
Do it,
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
John, was there any upgrades or anything you'd invested in on any of your Christmas trips, or anything you would do?
I'll give you the naughty version, because it was very adult based. Because from our first Christmas trip, I had this whole yearning about trips around the park and things like that. So our second one, we got snowed out of Philadelphia on the flight across from the UK, and we were about half an hour away from landing, and Philly shut. So they diverted us to Chicago. Now, with a very young child, and with a sharp right turn towards Chicago, my geography of the US is not great, but Chicago is not the best route at the best of times at that time of year. And we went to Chicago, and we got delayed for many an hour, which we're about 18 hours late getting into Orlando. So my first day in Magic Kingdom that year, I had Keys to the Kingdom tour, which was absolutely great. Walked straight in for Keys to the Kingdom. And if anyone's ever watched the very end of the Griswold's journey across America, and the cast member said, "Oh, due to the weather, we've decided that we're going to cancel all of the Keys to the Kingdom tours today."
Did you do a Clark Griswold and go and get hold of a gun?
Yeah, because
I just told him. I just turned around and told him, "No, it's not happening, mate. I was in Chicago. I should have been in Philly. I should have been here 24 hours ago. You're having a laugh. This is Florida. Get yourself sorted out." And actually, his wind-up really backfired on him. And so I went and did Keys to the Kingdom. And he was the same character to absolutely everybody, and a very, very good cast member. But was it fair to actually smack him in the face? I'll leave that for everyone to decide. And for anyone who knows me, they'll know that I didn't. I just basically took the proverbial throughout the whole tour and made him pay for the very fact he tried to wind me up. So I wound him up for the whole of the tour as well. But
It's a real shame, John, that you weren't recording the entire tour.
Sorry, Ben, what was that?
It's a shame you weren't recording the entire tour. It's a shame you're not allowed to film, because that would have been interesting to watch.
Do you know something? It's before the time I even had a phone that could record anything. And that's a sad indictment of how far things have come. Because the video camera I had was rubbish. The phone I had was rubbish. I've got one photo of him. I might, in fact, for the show notes, I tell you what, I'll name and shame him. I've got a photo of him, and it's just like, yeah, it's you. It's you. You thought you were being dead funny. You picked the wrong person at the wrong day, the wrong time. And like you say, Lloyd, yeah, if it had been the Griswold going and getting a gun, it probably would have been dead.
Oh, brilliant! Thanks, John. Thanks. And it was worth the money to treat yourself for the Keys to the Kingdom tour, I imagine.
It was a Christmas present, and I've got to say, it was the most amazing thing to be able to go and do. It's just
worth
like
the money anytime, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and actually, the behind the scenes stuff is something that I don't want to put any spoiler out there for anyone who's never done it. It was just like, it was amazing. It really was. And I'm now getting to get the time with my kids where they're just about at that age where maybe the next time we get to do that, we do it as a whole family. And they've always sort of cast that back as like, we went and spent 4 hours in Magic Kingdom while you went and got to see everything in the background.
Did they have charging privileges while they were out without you, John? Was those the days where your room card, you could charge everything?
No, we didn't even have a room card. Even better.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. Ben, over to you.
Ooh, we've been to Walt Disney World several times through Christmas sort of period, like early 3 times. Yep. So.
She says silently.
Yeah, it's like half our trips, isn't it?
Almost.
Yeah, and a lot of the time we go and we'll do Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So as we've done it a few times, we sort of know what do we expect. Until last year, which, looking at the weather forecast, we knew we were in for a slightly damp evening. And we got there and it just rained. It was that fine drizzly rain that just doesn't go away, but you get really wet. It's just like being on a splash mountain with that poncho.
Worse. Well, it's like being on the barges at Universal without a poncho.
Yeah.
It's that kind of wet we're talking.
But it was the
Did
best.
you need to be all Peter Kay then, Ben?
No, it was the best evening.
Thanks, Lloyd. I've been dying to say that, isn't it? Yeah.
Fine rain, through.
Yeah.
Pushing through. Yep. Everybody in.
Do you know, it was the best evening that we'd had.
Sorry, Ben.
It was one of the best evenings we ever had at a Christmas party. The queues were short. Even though that we couldn't see much of the fireworks, the new show that was on, because sort of rain and fireworks don't mix. So it was just like this thick fog surrounding Cinderella Castle. It looked more like it should have been for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party than Christmas. But we thought we'd skip the parade, which was really good. We thought we'd do it later in the evening so we can get on and do things like Jungle Cruise or Jingle Cruise. And I have a video here of what happened at the very end. So as you can see, that was the weather we got, and the parade was cancelled due to inclement weather. The first one had gone on ahead, so we were gutted, but it didn't take away anything of the evening. It was still the best one ever, and what will be a few days later was more that people were asking for their money back because of the weather, and Disney were offering it. But it was one of those things that we never even contemplated it. We sort of had lots of snacks, all the cookies going around, and it was just one of the best times that we'd ever had in a Disney park, even though we're completely soaked.
No.
Got to see the Christmas rainy day cavalcade.
Yep, cavalcade. Which
Cavalcade, that's the one. Which is very, very
the
rare.
last time I think there was in 2014, I think.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, have any of you guys done the party before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done it 3 times now.
Yeah.
Twice in one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I know there's always this perennial debate about is it worth the money, and the price keeps going up, and it is a lot of money. And I think it's an individual decision. You have to know what's right for your particular party. For us, we don't have small children. We don't have any children. So, we can keep going till late at night. You can do the second parade, which when it happens, which it usually happens, is much quieter. You can do the last castle show, which is much quieter. So, yeah, for us, it's all about all the shows. People say, oh, it's just, it's a lot of money for a couple of cookies and some hot chocolate. But there's so many shows to see and so much special stuff to do.
After me, it's not just a couple of cookies. I think we ended up with nearly 20.
Yeah.
We hadn't eaten, and we'd eaten a few going round as well. That's what we took back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
Nice.
We really like the Tomorrowland show, which is one that doesn't get a lot of love. Actually, it's very different from all the others. The others are quite kind of sentimental and so on, whereas the Tomorrowland one is all about Buzz Lightyear and Mike Wazowski and Stitch, and it's quite funny. It's got some songs that we've pinched and used in various contexts, and it's a great laugh.
Even though you can pay for the upgrade ticket, you can also upgrade it even more because they do a sort of dessert party.
Yeah,
which we've not done, but I'm not sure whether I'd want to pay an extra sort of $99 on top of like $79 for the ticket just to sort of have more treats. But then I'm losing out if I don't get to see the parade or there's sort of time. So it's a thing definitely that we'd look into, but I'm not sure whether I'd spend sort of another $100 on 80 that we're already spending.
Certainly wouldn't be the first time. I think the first time you do it, you really do need to experience the atmosphere and walking around the park in. Yeah.
Ben, do you get annual pass discount and stuff on the hard ticketed events?
Yep, you get annual pass and DVC discount.
Okay,
it's either $5 or $10 off.
So if you've got an annual pass or your DVC, you can get a bit of money off.
A bit of money off, it helps.
And I'm not sure whether they were planning to do it this year, but I know last year they did the Halloween sort of special offer where
the repeat
get a season ticket.
Yeah, that was
not
really
sure whether
good
they're going to do it again or not, but if it was Christmas we were out there, we'd do it.
Halloween season ticket and diabetes all in one go.
With 20 cookies for a Christmas night, you're looking at diabetes there too.
We used for the second time we went last time, if that makes sense. We used our $200 gift card to pay for it, so we didn't actually pay for it.
Yeah,
that's good.
That was good.
So Mickey paid for it, so
So we were with friends last year who did the same thing. They had their $200 gift card and they used that.
Yeah.
That's just a nice way of not having to worry about it. And the further closer you in normal sort of years, when you get closer to Christmas, a lot of the stuff happens throughout the day. So they start doing the parties in mid-November. Mid-December.
Yeah.
And introduce the parade every day.
And that's what I was going to ask you as well, Ben, because it's a really the Christmas parade and Halloween gets an awful lot of plaudits for what it offers people and for what it is all about. But the Christmas one is just, in a way, darkness doesn't really do it justice of an evening time. And when you have the opportunity to see it in the daylight, it becomes a really beautiful parade to try and take photographs of. But secondly, it kind of changes the whole atmosphere, and in a way, it becomes more accessible to young kids as well, doesn't it?
That's true.
I don't know. It's a strange one. There's no right or wrong.
I think in sort of times of COVID, I like that what they're doing at the minute is the cavalcades.
Yes.
I'd
And I
agree with
think that'll go really well in future, whether you pay for an extra party, which is sort of, there's less people, but I don't think you'll still have crowding. So I think they could run the cavalcades a lot throughout the night, and I think it will just create a different atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. Peter, what about yours?
It's a tricky one, and there's lots and lots of stuff. I like the fact that you get to meet rare characters. We've mainly done Paris for Christmas. We've done Disney WDW twice, but mainly Paris. And Paris tends to bring out some of the odder characters for Christmas, which is interesting. So we met Sandy Claus. So I think we've got a picture of Sandy Claus. Yeah.
Yay, there we go. Yay.
And that was a really good meet and greet.
Yeah.
We met Scrooge McDuck. That was really good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's nice. And at the parties, you get all these strange, the rare characters like the Seven Dwarves and stuff like that, as you do at any of the other parties. But yeah, there's just something about being there at Christmas, particularly Disneyland Paris. There's just something a bit more magical than any other time of year, and it's difficult to describe. So that's what I love about it, really. And to plus it up, sorry, last Lanny. There you go, there he is. And to plus it up, well, as I said, we did it twice one year. We decided on spec the day before to do the party a second time, because we've been with friends who live in Florida first time, and then we decided we wanted to do it our way, and we got to do some different things to the first night, and it was just really good, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. So
I just love it. I'm a sucker for the whole Christmas, sparkly lights, festive music. Bring it on.
Although it does feel odd with the snow soap, the Snope.
Yeah.
It should feel cold. It feels warm.
Oh, well, if you go to Disneyland Paris, you see, you can get real snow sometimes.
Yeah. That's me, really.
Cool. Thanks, Peter. Sammy?
Yeah, so I've never been during Christmas or anything like that.
Okay, Claire?
I was just saying yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yet, if I have to choose, I always prefer to go to Florida during Halloween. That's just my preferred time to go. I don't remember the last time I seen Disney and Magic Kingdom without the Halloween decorations. Probably a long time ago. But it's something I would consider maybe if I had kids in the future. But for now, it's not something that really interests me that much. I would just much rather go during Halloween.
Cool.
Go the last week of October and the first week of November, as it changes from Halloween to Christmas. You get the best of both worlds.
Halloween, and then it'll be so busy.
It's not too bad. The first week of November is not usually.
We've always done
terribly
first 2 weeks
bad.
of November, and it's quiet.
Yeah, but the last week in October, is that not going to be super busy? Because of Halloween?
Depends what you call busy. It's.
I don't know.
It's always busy around Sammy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I
sort of.
mentioned the other park, but that's like a busy time to go. The one down at Universal.
Busch Gardens is a bit far.
I like to go to Halloween Horror Nights, obviously, at Universal, and that is just too busy the last week of October because of Halloween. So, yeah.
3-week trip.
One day, it'll happen one day.
Do you know what, though, Sammy? Before kids, and you're not tied to school holidays or anything, you can get some cracking deals all through November for flights.
Yeah.
Even around Thanksgiving, because the UK, we don't really give them monkeys about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We don't get penalised on flight prices either, so it's still, even if you're going towards the end of November, really cheap. Get some, or you used to be able to, and I imagine in the future you'll be able to get some cracking deals. So you'll see that sort of Disney at Christmas setup.
Yeah, as long as you don't tie in with like half-term holidays, that's the only for the UK, because that's generally last couple of weeks or so of October. But I think the cheapest we got it for first 2 weeks of November was £350 direct.
That's good. I remember I have to come from Glasgow to London then. all the airlines shutting down and things.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah. Move to England.
I'll tell you what I would add, though, and I think this is really important because I've got friends who do listen to the show every month, and they were due to come back only a matter of days before we recorded this. And they'd actually planned that Halloween into Christmas transition. But I've got to say, anything that we've ever spoken about Christmas is that whole of the dream lights on the castle in Magic Kingdom just completely change. Even the hardened, most Halloween-centric view of Magic Kingdom. You wait and see. That castle lit up is just the most incredible sight. It is beautiful, Sammy. And
I know.
I would urge you start saving now, and go and do a Christmas trip just to go see the castle. Just go see it.
Sammy, you're a fan of Frozen, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're a fan of Frozen.
Yes.
You need to see A Frozen Holiday Wish.
Yeah,
it's the sort of lighting ceremony of the lights on the castle.
Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, but I'm a Halloween girl at heart, even though I'm currently wearing tinsel.
No, it's I don't know. It's just like it would melt your heart, Sammy. It really
100%. Yeah.
It's incredible, and I don't know. It's the one site that. As a first timer to Christmas season, it's the one thing that would just invite you back time and time again, just to see the castle lit up so amazingly.
I would like to do maybe Christmas through New Year because I would love to be there for New Year. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it doesn't change much for New Year. Just don't keep that to yourself. Don't change much. And then when you get to about the 5th or 6th of January, anything that's due a refurb tends to close because all the Americans have gone home. But again, keep that one to yourself as well,
If you'd ever got to Pleasure Island, Sammy, before it all got changed, it was New Year's Eve every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at midnight.
That would have been fun.
Lloyd's leading me astray again, Sammy.
It's not anymore, is it? It's Disney Springs now, but yeah.
We need to try and recreate it, maybe. I don't know. Just in the hotel. Coming at you from the left.
So I'm like Sammy, I am a Christmas girl. I love Christmas. Even if I'm stuck in the UK, I love Christmas. So Christmas plus Disney is kind of my idea of heaven. And there is so much to do at Disney outside of the parks, not including, stuff that you don't have to pay for. So there's the gingerbread houses at the resort, the deluxe resorts that you can go and see, and they've got little shops and you can go and buy little bits of gingerbread. And there's the Christmas tree trail at Disney Springs, which is really good. We did it last year. They've changed it a bit this year due to COVID. So instead of all being in one little place, they've spread all the trees out throughout Disney Springs, and you get to go on a little Christmas tree hunt. And they theme them all to different Disney things. So there'll be a Star Wars themed tree or a Mulan themed tree. And they're just really pretty to see. Yeah. I could probably go on and on, to be fair.
Basically, Becca says Christmas, yeah.
The Christmas tree trail now.
I haven't got started on what you can do at Epcot at Christmas yet. So
yeah.
With the Christmas tree trail at Disney Springs, with it being all spread out as well, you can make kind of an afternoon of it because you can get your little scavenger hunt book for the Christmas trees, and then you can just almost like a mini eat and drink away around the world. Just do Disney Springs, have some snacks and a couple of drinks, and get through all the trees, and then go and claim your pin.
Yeah,
unless you buy loads of snacks and shopping in all the shops, but
yeah.
The prize is a badge, isn't it? A button.
Stitch one was last year's.
Last year's was a Stitch one.
Yeah. I think as well, though, Becca, and I think this goes back to sort of deluxe resorts, but Grand Floridian in particular. If anybody gets, if you're planning a trip at Christmas, and this year, since we can't go, they've decided not to make the gingerbread house. But it's a sight to behold. It really is, and you get into that whole sort of atrium within the Grand Floridian, and the actual smell of gingerbread is just so incredible. And I think if you troll through Disney Plus, there is the video that actually they've recorded, and it's been available for a number of years now, about how it's actually built. And it's a beautiful watch, and you want to go there. It just invites you back there, and it's a very, very Christmassy feeling.
I like that every resort's got something different as well.
Yeah.
It's not all just about the standard gingerbread house. It's, I know there's a frozen one normally and contemporary.
Contemporary, yeah.
We were there for the first year of that. Yeah.
I've done it every year.
We've been trying to get the Beach Club Carousel, but that wasn't up yet. But we were going to Contemporary anyway for lunch to go away. And we just turned up, and there was this amazing, like sculpture. It's a flat sculpture that goes up against the wall, and it's a tribute to It's a Small World, Mary Blair style, but it's the characters from Frozen. And we actually ended up talking to the chef who created it. And there was a signing of a limited edition pin the next day. And we said, oh, well, we won't be there for that, but never mind. Hope it goes well. He signed a pin for us.
Oh,
nice.
It was really sweet.
And there was something like 16 Olafs on that one that you have to find.
Yeah.
And there's lots of hidden Mickeys on all of them.
There are,
yeah.
Then there's the carousel. The carousel at
Beach Club
is nice. Is excellent.
Yeah.
The first one I really came across was the train layout in Yacht Club. That's really good.
That's not gingerbread. It's like a model village.
No, the village is the gingerbread.
Yeah.
I love it when next to all of them is a sign saying all the ingredients.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, that's an awful lot of sugar.
It must be really hard by the time that they actually finish with it as well. I just no way would I eat it.
Well, no.
Yeah, don't eat it.
No.
Advice to anyone listening: don't even try. I think that's it.
Buy the fresh ones.
Yeah. Buy the packets they sell next to it, not try and snap a bit off as you're walking past.
From the Grand Floridian, I'm fairly certain they actually sell it to you from inside the house.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sure there's a fairy story about not eating a gingerbread house somewhere along the lines. A very healthy warning that goes with that anyway.
You can eat gingerbread and just not a gingerbread house.
Yes, exactly.
I can see a film being made. Maybe it's the third Frozen. Not eating gingerbread houses.
Or someone squirts some strawberry syrup on Olaf and decides to eat him with a snow cone. Right, thanks, Becca. Jill.
Yeah, I think the thing that's not been mentioned yet is at WDW is the candlelight processional, which is something that happens. It's kind of their version of a carol service, sort of, but that makes it sound very boring, and it really isn't. Basically, it's the Christmas story with carols sung by this amazing masked choir, and they usually have celebrity narrators. So we saw Whoopi Goldberg. They tend to have people like Neil Patrick Harris and various actors and famous people and so on. And you don't have to spend any extra money. You can stand at the back and watch it. It's in the America Gardens Theatre, so you can stand and watch it and not spend any extra money. But they do tend to have a dining package if you want to have a guaranteed seat. And if you're going to eat in Epcot anyway, it's probably worth doing. Certainly the queue would be over an hour long without the package the day we did it. So, well worth doing.
And tell them your Santa story.
Oh yeah, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but we did the first time we did Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It was my birthday, and I had a birthday button on, and Santa in the parade spotted my birthday button and shouted "Happy birthday" to you, and I was just so buzzed, just ridiculously overwhelmed that Santa had actually wished me happy birthday. I'm like, oof. I'm what?
Life made.
Ever. It was wonderful.
Oh, lovely.
Can I
Thanks,
pick
Jill.
up on the candlelight processional? Because I think many of us have probably watched different narrators do their part of adding to Disney Christmases. It is the most beautiful thing, and I think it remains on probably anyone who's never been at Christmas time or has been at Christmas time and not seen it. It's on your must-do list because it is beautiful. It is truly, truly spiritual, and it's a, I don't know. It pluses up that whole Disney experience at Christmas.
It's something you would never get in a British theme park.
No.
It feels right in a Disney theme park. Yeah.
And it's in the right place as well, and I think it adds an awful lot to Epcot. I think because I think we've talked about Magic Kingdom an awful lot, and Epcot has got a hell of a lot out there with the holidays around the world, which I'm trying not to tread on Claire's toes because I don't know what Claire's going to talk about. But the candlelight processional is really the jewel in the crown for Epcot, and it draws an awful lot of people in. But it's just put it on your list if you've never seen it. If you're planning for the future, go and check out so many different versions of it on YouTube. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah,
fantastic. Claire, what about yourself?
Yes. It's only you and me left, Lloyd.
Mine's kind of been done. Mine's been stolen from you.
I know. Might as well just get my coat. So I have not yet been to Walt Disney World at Christmas. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah.
Sorry, Claire.
So you're not ever going to go there?
No, can I?
No.
Because Claire was meant to go at Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Claire's holiday's been cancelled along with everyone else's. And do you know something, Claire? We all feel your pain so much.
I'm not the only one who's had a cancelled holiday.
It was that time. It was that time. 2020 Christmas was going to be Claire's Christmas at Disney.
Christmas is cancelled for me.
And it's nagging. It's Christmas at home now. That's it. You're stuck.
Oh no, we're already looking at where we can go.
I know.
Don't worry.
I know. But no, I really feel for you. So.
But saying that, I have been really lucky because Disneyland Paris is just down the road. So we've been, I've been to Disneyland Paris at Christmas probably upwards of 25 times. So I don't feel bad, to be honest with you. It just so happens that that's a really good time for us to go. And I think, as Peter said earlier, Disneyland Paris at Christmas is really, really special. It absolutely is my favourite time to visit there. And I think it is about the weather. I think it's about the how twinkly the park looks. There's something amazing about the Snope on Main Street. It snows like every 15 minutes and you know it's coming because there's like little twinkly bells and then suddenly the Snope appears. And it's really, really beautiful. But things have changed quite a lot over the years. So going back, and I think there's a photo of how cold it can get in Disneyland Paris. So back in 2009, that is so that is New Year's Day, and that is Lake Disney, and the whole thing is frozen. So if you know Disneyland Paris, that's a massive lake that runs between Newport Bay and what was a Hotel New York, now soon to be the Art of Marvel. And that lake just completely frozen all the way. It had snowed overnight, and this was quite early in the morning. And that's Dan with Morgan when Morgan was small. So he's now 6'2", and that's quite a big difference. But this is back in 2009 on New Year's Day, and That's how cold it gets in Disneyland Paris at Christmas. It's proper brass monkeys. But the other thing that used to happen at Disneyland Paris and doesn't anymore, and I'm sure there are lots of really good reasons for, is they used to have animals in the parades. So they used to have actually real live reindeer. Right? There's a photo. So I found this going back through all my photos. They used to have reindeer pulling Santa's sleigh. I mean, that particular reindeer doesn't look particularly impressed. It doesn't look very happy. They used to have, so this was one of the best shows ever, which was the ice skating, Mickey and Minnie's Winter Wonderland ice skating show in the old Frontierland Theatre. The one that if you sat behind a post, you couldn't see anything at all for the entire show. And this ran probably for about 5 or 6 years, and there was an ice rink in the middle. And towards the end, to get all the cast off, these 2 great big horses trot on across the ice rink, and you just think, this is crazy, this is insane, on an elevated stage. So Disneyland Paris used to really go for it with the animals over Christmas. It didn't happen other times of the year other than the odd duck at Easter, but yeah, it was bizarre. You don't get that now, unfortunately.
I imagine that has something to do with the mess.
Health and safety.
I think it's probably about health and safety.
Health and safety as Christmas.
I think it's probably about you still get obviously the horses on Main Street pulling the carriage, but it's I think there's something really special about the weather, particularly just brings that. What we know is Christmas. I'm sure that our colleagues who live in, different parts of the world may think it's really bizarre to have a cold Christmas. But certainly for me, Christmas should be cold. And therefore going to Disneyland Paris feels right. I'm not sure how we would have coped in Orlando in Christmas. I think it would have been a bit strange.
Air conditioning.
Well, we went to the
I think you managed just fine, Claire.
We were fine.
Just come with us at Christmas time. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that and the other thing about Disneyland Paris at Christmas is the hot chocolate, because obviously you have to stay warm. So Disneyland Paris hot chocolate is like the most amazing stuff you have ever tried in your entire life. So something about standing watching the parade with a hot chocolate, the snow comes down, the atmosphere is incredible. So I would say that the other thing about Disneyland Paris at Christmas, a bit like Walt Disney World, is the resort hotels do stuff. So there is a gingerbread house in the Disneyland Hotel, and it smells amazing. It's nowhere near the size scale of the one in the Grand Floridian, but it is still there, and you can still buy bits of gingerbread. And they put the most beautiful tree up on the first floor outside Cafe Fantasia, right in the centre, outside Inventions and the California Grill. They put a really stunning tree because there's a big lofted ceiling.
Yeah,
and it's gorgeous. To go up there and just sit and have a drink at the end of the day, and so nice smelling hotel with Christmassy stuff. It's beautiful. So yeah, go. I used to like the Hotel New York at Christmas. That would be my location of choice, because you could go ice skating at the end of the day outside. I'm really excited to see what they do with the Art Marvel Hotel, but I will miss New York. But
ice skating. So could you go ice skating on the lake?
No, but we did see quite a few ducks getting very confused as to why they couldn't swim. They were sort of like wobbling across the surface. They're almost like banging on it with their foot, going, "What's going on?" Because it hadn't been like 2 days before, it hadn't been frozen, and then for like 48 hours, the temperature dropped to about -9.
That's not even Scottish cold.
It was, I'm pretty resilient, and that it was really, really cold. We'd had a beautiful meal the night before in the Yacht Club restaurant, and characters. It was New Year's Eve. We paid a fortune for it because at Disneyland Paris you have to buy the posh meal at Christmas. There isn't any other option unless you're eating cheap quick service. But so we'd had a really nice meal. And then got up the next day to go to the park, and it was just like, wow, this is cold. So yeah, it's
did
pretty
anything
special.
In the park sort of stop working, or just did they close anything because it was so cold?
Yeah, they closed Thunder Mountain, because the rails were frozen, and also Indiana Jones. So the outside stuff kind of froze. And if you went on, so I'm trying to think what else we went on. Casey Jr. had closed. We went on the Storybook Boats ride, and I think we were frozen at the end of that because it's so slow moving. But even that, like the wind chill, it was like those photos of people's hair that's like frozen.
Yeah.
And it really didn't warm up for the rest of the trip. We were there for about 5 days, and it didn't really warm up at all. And actually, it snowed really heavily the following day, so that we were like trudging around in our boots in sort of 4 or 5 inches of snow around. And it was strange. I mean, we've been lots of times at Christmas and it's never been quite that cold, but it is always that when you get inside, you have to like take off 15 layers before you can sit down and eat. But, you know, that's half the fun. You forget what it's like and then you go outside and it hits you again. But there's nothing like watching a parade when you're standing shivering.
The studios do the food festival the last few years at Christmas, and you get mulled wine and you get gingerbread and you get all the Christmassy stuff there, and that's a really good fun thing to do as well.
Yeah, you get that walking through the Disney Village too. So they've done that for quite a few years, walking through the village, where you get apparently you can get a glass of mulled wine as you walk back to the hotel. I've heard people tell me such stories.
The first year we went to Disneyland Paris at Christmas, the Disneyland Hotel didn't have a gingerbread house. It had an icing house that was all white, and it had a great big 3-tier cake with a massive statue of Beauty and the Beast on top.
Yeah,
and that was really nice. It was really different.
Yeah.
I've got some photos of the gingerbread house from 2 or 3 years, actually. I'll get them for the show notes there and share them. It's really pretty, but it looks like the baby version of the one in the Grand Floridian.
Yeah, yes.
We'll see if we can. I'll see if I can find one for comparison.
We can compare the size. God forbid that anything in America is bigger than over here in Europe.
Lloyd's done.
No, it's good because it's like you guys appreciate it as well. But you know, we don't. You know me, I don't always do the parks when we do our visits, and so we've been once in the sort of November period where it does transition from Halloween into Christmas, and I think we only did one day. I think we had 2-day park tickets. I think we did. We definitely did. I think we did Magic Kingdom and Epcot while we were there, and obviously the parks are dressed up nicely. But what we did a lot of the time was we'd just jump on the monorail loop, or we'd go and visit the different hotels. And we were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge at the time. And the parks, you get that instant snap from Halloween to Christmas, but the hotels tend to be staggered a little bit. So I remember going to bed one night in Animal Kingdom Lodge, and everything just was kind of normal. And then the next morning, getting up, and I was going to fill our refillable mugs, doing the little dad job in the morning, getting a coffee and a Coke. And then there's a massive Christmas tree being erected in the Animal Kingdom Lodge lobby, just overnight. It just gone to bed, and then the amount of work they must have done while all guests are probably snoozing, and then get up in the morning and it's all up. And just looked absolutely amazing, and all the garlands and things in Animal Kingdom Lodge as well, just in the blink of an eye, just of a period of sleep, it's all there. And then when we were there, they won't be in place at the moment, but there was photo pass photographers as well in front of the some of the Christmas trees at various times. Yeah, so we got nice little shots done. Animal Kingdom Lodge. But then, yeah, as I said, so if we're not doing the parks that often, we would just go and experience the Christmas sort of feel. Still a Disney Christmas feel, but just in the different resorts. So you've talked about, is it Boardwalk with the Carousel? And then obviously Grand Floridian. We love Grand Floridian anyway, but you've got the gingerbread house. And as John said, the smell of the gingerbread house hits you as you go in. But then you've got that magnificent Christmas tree that you can see from a couple of levels as well. You can go up, you go at least to the first, maybe second floor as well, if you haven't got club level pass, and just see it from those views as well. It's just absolutely, the lobby in the Grand Floridian is amazing anyway, but being able to see the Christmas tree there as well, with all the decorations on there, but themed to the Grand Floridian, so all the bird cages and things like that. And then they've got the gingerbread house up towards the far end of the lobby as well. Just all absolutely fantastic. And now also, we've been watching a few of Paige and Mr. Morrow's videos. You can get those actual Christmas tree decorations in some of the stores around about Orlando. So I forget which one it is. Lakeland, it might be the Lakeland Antiques Mall maybe, but you can actually buy, so like the bird cage that's been on the Grand Floridian Christmas tree in years gone by, you can get it for your own tree now. So that's certainly that's on our little bucket list for when we get over in May. Maybe. We'll be trying to get a load of Christmas decks for that. But yeah, and you don't have to be in the parks to experience that Christmas magic, because you feel it in the hotels, and there's still that music played around. And the one thing I love about, I've spoken to John about this, one thing I love about being in Florida, if any period that's close to Christmas time is, and you don't hear it in the UK, but you do a lot in Florida, Feliz Navidad. And it's just like, I don't think I'd ever heard it before being in Orlando at the time, and it's amazing. It's great. And now I search it all the time to just play on my on the iPod over Christmas time here, and they're like, "What's this?" I'll give it 2 seconds; it'll be an earworm for the whole of Christmas. Then
put it on your December playlist. I've got to say,
yeah. And then if I'm going to plus up a Christmas there, I'd just say merch. Just stock up on what you can, because we always, even if it's not Christmas anyway, we'll find some sort of Christmas shop, and we'll always get a Christmas decoration for the tree. And that's the beauty of Disney and Universal as well. They've got the all year round Christmas shops, so you can go and get something.
Yeah,
I
was about to say that ye oldie Christmas shop in Magic Kingdom in Liberty Square. I always go in there, and last year I did buy some decorations, and I was petrified because this thing was beautiful, this bauble. It was huge, and it was stunning. And for all the money in the world, I would have promised that was glass. And Millie picked it up, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And I was like, it was like, I was just like the panic in my face. And there were two amazing cast members who were there. They were wrapping things, and I was just like having this complete freak out meltdown at this 7-year-old picking up this thing. I was like, this is going to end badly. And I was like, just put it down gently, darling. Just leave it there. We'll buy it, but just put it down. And the lady, one of the cast members, was like, no, throw it on the floor. And I'm like, what? And this thing was, honestly, I was like, no, don't, darling. It's fine. Don't. I think it was like $15 or something. I was like, don't smash it. But it wasn't glass. It was plastic. But it felt and it looked and the same weight as glass. It was heavy, and this thing was stunning. So it was okay. They obviously have had many children in there several times smashing stuff, and have decided not to sell any glass ornaments whatsoever. But yeah,
there's a competition. So next time you go into a Christmas shop, you can break something.
It's like
that's blasphemy.
It's like a Greek Christmas shop. Just start flinging things.
No, I might stop panicking as much when I go in there and feeling like I'm going to break everything if I break.
I know.
It'll be something that is breakable.
Yeah, and Mills will find it. I know it.
I was just going to say, if anyone wants to know about where the Universal Christmas shop is, it's in Islands of Adventure, and it's called Port of Entry Christmas Shop.
Yep.
I've been in there as well. We got we couldn't find what didn't seem as good a quality as Disney or anything as. I think it was like a niche bauble, a Grinch bauble I saw when I was in there, which I half fancy. But I just found the Disney shop a bit, I don't know, just felt a bit better quality, and
it's
more varied.
Different. Like I was
smell when you go in there.
Yeah, it's different, but like they do like some really nice stuff as well, and they do similar stuff to Disney and stuff. There's like lots of nice Harry Potter stuff as well. So if you like Harry Potter, and they have those kind of Christmas decorations.
I think the big difference is Disney seem a way of promoting it a lot more.
Yeah.
If it's all there, where Universal, you can find some nice stuff, but you have to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I also add as well, because I think there's also I love the shop within Magic Kingdom, and to walk through there in the middle of August and to actually be thinking about what you want from that trip on your Christmas tree for December is something. It is just a moment to behold. But if anyone's ever been to Disney Springs, there is also another Christmas shop which is about 10 times the size of the Magic Kingdom, and it is amazing. It has got every single Disney merch that you could ever wish to put on your Christmas tree around your house, and it is just even doesn't matter what time of year you go, it is there, and you can go and you can enjoy, and they still play Christmas music in the middle of August.
Yeah. Is that the one that's opposite the Goofy Candy Company?
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
Days
of Christmas. Yeah.
Days of Christmas.
I love the
both
little
of
one
them-
tucked away in Disney Studios, just by Muppet Vision 3D.
That's
Just
the
tucked
really
away around.
Oh, yes.
Just hidden
Yes.
away,
Really
so it's
small.
never too busy. Not everyone
Yeah.
knows about it. You've got a snowman outside.
Everyone
really
knows
good.
now.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful store. It's called, I think. Is that
It's
right?
beautiful. That's another
Yeah.
beautiful as well.
I
Yeah.
get sidetracked with the Muppet stuff over there. So
That Muppet
I
store.
don't know about the one at Hollywood Studios, but the one at Magic Kingdom and the one at Disney Springs, for a little added extra cost, will personalise the ornaments as well.
They will.
So we've got a couple.
One of the most amazing experiences for us at Christmas was actually going to Celebration. And I know it's not Disney, and I know it's not parks, but the area of Celebration in Orlando was just the most incredible place to go at Christmas. And it snows 3 times nightly or something on the hour from 7 through till 10 or whatever. But boy, what an experience. It really was. It was beautiful. And Celebration itself, even just for a walk around, is just amazing. It's a beautiful. I don't know. It's a difficult one to explain, but it's it has previous history with Disney. But you just go and you soak up Christmas, and it is just absolutely amazing.
I think you're right, John. I think there's so many other things that you can do, and I know that there's loads we haven't mentioned, and even just normal domestic residential house lights. I'm sure are stunning. There's, go and rent a golf cart and drive around Fort Wilderness and look at the cabins that people deck up. I mean, I've seen some footage this year of the Halloween stuff that people have put up. I can't wait to see what people put up for Christmas. There's so many things you can do that aren't about going to the Christmas party or going to the parks to go and watch a Christmas parade, or I just think the opportunity and the options are massive.
As we shared those delightful tales, all bright and heartfelt, I could sense some spirits lifting and some frozen hearts begin to melt. So let's keep this ball rolling with this wondrous momentum. Let's hear of a home from home with the lovely Becca and Ben.
Thanks, Lloyd. So I suppose the big question is, what is DBC? DBC is a points-based timeshare, and that means that you will receive an allocation of points each year that you can use in that particular year, which means you're not locked into a particular week like you are with some other timeshares. As I said, you can use your points at any time during the year at any of the 16 Disney resorts, which include Grand Floridian, Riviera and Alani. So you don't actually have to stay at Walt Disney World if you don't want to. Each night is a set amount of points, and these vary depending on the season and the room type. So a 2-bedroom hotel room, DVC room at Christmas is going to be cheaper than a 1-bedroom in the middle of May, for example. So you can purchase, if you purchase points directly from Disney, you also have the ability to use these on things like Adventures by Disney or the Disney Cruise Line. Your purchase price is set by choosing a home resort. So that's the resort that you actually own at. You then get priority booking at that resort at 11 months. And at 7 months, you have the opportunity to book at any of the other DVC resorts with availability.
Yeah. Purchase price also is set by how many points that you decide to buy in with as well. So it depends on how long a stay you want every year. It varies. So there are 2 ways of purchasing your membership. One is directly through Disney, which is at the newer resorts, so like Alani, Copper Creek and Riviera. The other option, which is the way we went, was through resale. So that could be any of the resorts that are currently on sale by an existing member. So each resort's contract does have an end date, so it's a thing to bear in mind when you're looking at research into sort of other contracts. So there are some perks which you only get directly through Disney. These include food, merchandise, things like annual passes for Disney World and Moonlight Magic events. So there are some benefits you do get if you do go through resale, and they are top of the world lounge access and pool hopping benefit at certain pools and certain times of the year.
Has that changed recently?
No, it's still the same.
Is it still the same?
Still
I
the
know
same.
they've changed
Still
a
the
few
same last time I
rules.
looked on DVC's website.
They change the rules every so often.
If it does change, I will put a thing in the video. So, another alternative, if you didn't want to go straight into buying a contract, is you could rent points from another member who's not using them that year. I think there's been quite a lot this year due to COVID that not all of us have been able to travel. So you can rent your points from a member in a variety of ways. So you can go through places like the DIB forum, you can go through Facebook groups, or you can go through a rental company like David's DVC. So for example, 14-night stay at Old Key West, end of August, if you were to go on and buy that through the Disney website, that would cost you just under £4,000. So DVC, that's 198 points. But if you were to rent those points, it would only cost you 2,900 on the current rate today. So that can change, but it's quite a saving. So
Nearly £2,000.
one.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, £1,000. Sorry,
That's okay.
maths not my strong suit.
Maths and it's getting late. Yeah, it's fine. So yeah, other benefits of DVC resorts are what you get in the room. So you get things from that are different to a normal sort of hotel room. So you get larger villas. So you can go from a studio that sleeps 5 all out to grand villas that sleep 12. You've got things like Cascade Cabins at Copper Creek. You've got the Poly Bungalows.
No, tree houses at Saratoga Springs.
Yeah.
So if you've got a big group of you going, it's worth having a look to see how many points that's needed, how much that equates to in renting, and how much that's going to cost you if you
Just bought it direct.
well split the cost between the 12
Yeah,
of you.
that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Housekeeping is something that is different compared to what you normally get through staying in the standard Disney room. So regularly it's trash and towel on your 4th night and a full deep clean on the 8th. Not sure how this is going to change with COVID, but I know beforehand that they were doing trash on a daily basis as a security check. So it's just something slightly different you get with DVC.
Worth keeping in mind that you're not necessarily going to come back to your room to a freshly made bed every day.
So majority of the rooms, like we said, are larger and you've got more space. A lot of that is due to you get a balcony and you've got a kitchenette, even in the studios.
1 bedrooms and above come with a full kitchen as well as a washer and dryer. So if you do like doing your laundry or a bit of laundry while you're away, then instead of having to use the standard laundry rooms that cost a couple of dollars each time, then you've got one in your room and you can just pop down to the pool and have a relax.
Also, 1 bedroom and above have a whirlpool bath.
Oh, that is true.
So
one day we're going to stay in a 1 bedroom so we can use that whirlpool bath.
Yeah, that's true. Also, parking at resort is included on a DVC booking, where you book just the hotel, without DVC points, it's not. So it's a thing to work into your finances and working when you crunch the numbers. Is it worth actually, instead of taking the offers like free dining, which they're doing at the minute, or free nights, whether if you booked a DVC room, which included the parking. So just a thing to think about. So any questions?
None of this makes sense to me at all. Like, I do not get it.
So
What's confusing you?
Sammy, you spend, say, you buy a holiday, you go on Disney's website and you type in Pop Century, but Old Key West comes up and it's £4,000.
Yeah.
Say you pay that every year, and that was your trip. You paid that every year. If you went DVC, you get your points. You buy that amount of points that would cover that same 2 week stay.
Okay.
So that's 210. So you get that every year, but you have to pay. But you bought into so DVC. So you've spent 18,900. But then if you spent 4,000 over 10 years, how much is that?
I'm not good at math.
40,000.
Sam, you could also spend 18,000 on the outlay, and because the points don't seem to be depreciating, you could sell in 20 years with 20 whatever years left on the lease for the same amount of money. So your payout for the points has cost you nothing at all. You've got that exact same money come back in. Now, if you get enough points as well, where after your holiday points every year, you can rent out some, or if you say go every 2 years, the points you've got left over, if you can rent them for the value of your dues as well, to pay all your dues, in theory, your DVC for going for 20 years has cost you zero, absolutely zero.
Can I just ask, I think a lot of people who are either looking at it from the outside, the dues that you have to pay each year, how much does that equate to?
It varies on average. It depends on what resort is your home resort, so which one you choose to stay at. On average, they're probably about between $6 and $8 a point. So the more points you have, the more it costs.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
Ours, we've got 170 points, and ours is approximately about $1,250 a year.
Okay, and to be honest, that becomes a bit of a mystical part of DVC, and I've got to say,
we get an annual breakdown of what it covers.
Yeah, no,
So,
I totally get that, Ben. But from somebody who possibly would have made far better value of it many years ago, after I'm looking at this now, and I'm looking at sort of the cost implication, and I'm thinking that actually from DVC is a real positive way of looking at investing if you want to go repeatedly over over a period.
You don't just have to go to Disney. You can use these in other places. So you can trade your points in and do an exchange program, RCI. So you can stay at thousands of different places around the world. We've looked at that as an alternative.
Sometimes it's not worth the money. Or not worth it.
Sometimes it's better off renting those points out and using the money you rent out. So if Sammy wanted to stay at Old Key West next year and we weren't using our points, we could rent them. So we'd agree on a price. Average probably is between £10 to £12 a point. So about $15 seems to be the average going rate at the minute. And it means that you could then stay in a DVC property and still get the benefits of most of the benefits of staying in a DVC resort, such as the kitchenette, sort of the larger rooms, and also a view that looks like this.
Worth it just for that view.
Also,
I've done it 7 times now, John, renting DVC points.
Really?
Yeah, like rooms like this.
For example, Grand Floridian, £150 a night it worked out at.
Yeah.
That was it.
Which is the price of what, a moderate?
Yeah. Animal Kingdom Lodge, £91 a night for my 2-week stay.
I get the rent. Like, I think I've captured the rent.
You understood the renting. It's the buying it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of calculations. It's working out how often you're going to go to Disney, because it's one of those things. If you go every other year, it's definitely a thing to look at, because with the points, you don't have to use them each year.
Oh, that's
so
true.
We have.
Do they go?
So what you can do is we get ours every March. So we get 170 points every March. So what's happened, obviously, with COVID, we didn't use ours this time, so we rolled them over to next time. But what you can also do is borrow from the year ahead as well. So technically, we could have use of 3 years worth of points in 1 year. So you can bank them into the following into that year and borrow from the one ahead. So you could go every 3 years and have a mega trip.
So your next trip, you're going to the presidential suite in the Grand
I wish. No,
but Paulie.
Yes.
But you know something, Ben. What you're saying, and Lloyd, I'm really intrigued by your renting of points as well. In a way, you're making more sense of it than perhaps. I walk past those guys in the parks, and a couple of free fast passes and a cupcake or whatever doesn't do it for me. I'm not giving up 2 hours worth of my holiday to go and listen to their spiel. But actually already tonight you're actually getting into the nitty gritty of it. This is where I'm already getting sort of reluctant to admit that. Do you know something? Maybe 10 years ago this could have saved me a hell of a lot of money.
Everyone worries when you hear the word timeshare, because it's a typical thing of the 80s and 90s that everyone, oh no, this is something don't want to get involved in. But with Disney, it's different. It still is a timeshare, but the flexibility we like is that we could go any time of the year we wanted to. We're not tied in. So we're lucky that we don't have to go on school holidays, and we can pick and choose when we want to go. Each season does cost more. So obviously Christmas and Easter are more expensive than if you went in sort of May or June. And it depends on the points and depends on what sort of room you want to stay in. So obviously Studio, which looks like this, it's an average studio. So you normally have
Tower.
that is,
It
yeah,
is.
that's Bay Lake Tower.
It's usually a king-size bed and a queen-size sofa. Some of them also have a single pull-down as well.
Yeah.
So some of the studio rooms can sleep up to 5.
That's one of the smallest rooms you can get for DVC, but they all have a kitchenette. So you've got that benefit. And this is one of the largest ones, largest studios. And it's got 2 bathrooms. So you've got a shower and a bath.
And that's at the Poly.
That's the
That's
Poly.
the Poly, and there's that little pull bed that I said about. If you can see.
Under the TV.
Watching the video.
Yeah, the little
Sorry for in the whole conversation, but I think I kind of get it a bit more now, actually.
Yeah,
it's really great and playing.
It's one of those things to sit down and work out. I have to admit, it took us about at least 2 years to think about it. And actually, the more because when you're there, you talk to Disney, and it's like, this sounds great. You look at their price and you go, it's not for me. Yeah. It's like at the time I couldn't afford it. I just thought, do you know what? And it was a commitment, and it was like, okay, I'm on holiday. Yes, this is nice, but there was no pressure from Disney, which is what I wasn't expecting. Because when we've sort of unfortunately experienced another timeshare that we got roped into by Universal.
Wasn't actually Universal.
No, that unfortunately in Universal they've got people selling timeshares to different companies. We got caught on one on a really bad day for us. It was the day that there was no power in Universal Studios, so we just wanted some money back.
Well, we just wanted
to complain. So yeah, unfortunately, we got caught up doing this timeshare thing a few days later with them, and they didn't want to let us leave.
That's like the classic nightmare.
It was typical. It was even if you pay $1 a month, we still want you to join. It's like no. And at this time, we'd already bought into DVC the month before. We'd already signed up contracts and everything. It was like we'd already made the mind up, and we said that no, we're done. We don't want anything to do with this timeshare. We just want DVC. So we'd already made up our mind, but yeah, they didn't want to let us leave. But that was we experienced both of sort of the pressure sell from that compared to what we got from Disney, where it was like you sit, you talk, you chat, and there's like
go away, have a think about it.
I think you're right. I think several times, I would say like every time we go, we walk past that bit on the boardwalk where they've got the little open house flat, and so you go in there and there's a nice 2-bedroom, and you're like, oh, this is nice. And they're lovely, and they give you a drink and you have a chat, and you're like, oh, this is a lot of money. And I have no doubt that if we had, £45,000 sitting in the bank doing nothing, we would absolutely buy it. But that, because of the fact that there's 4 of us, we would need a minimum of 1 bedroom, probably a 2-bedroom now because of the kids' ages. And so the cost becomes increasingly astronomical, or apparently so. But we always go in, we always have a chat. Dan and I have a discussion about it afterwards. I'll just leave it like that.
It's one of those things until you sit down and work out pound for pound how much you spend on your holiday, and that's what we did. We did this after our 3rd trip, and it was like after our 3rd trip when we'd spent about 4 or 5 grand on each trip with quite a few of them. It was like, do you know what? We bought our DVC. I'll say how much it was. We paid £8,000 for 120 points at the time from Saratoga Springs, which would give us 10 days a year.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that we would absolutely love to do it. And I have, fairly zero doubt that at some point in the future we will, but we're just not at that point yet. But we always go in and check and have a chat and then have a discussion over a glass of wine later on and go,
also, if there's a particular resort you're looking for, don't go direct to Disney.
Yeah.
Disney will only sell you their ones that they've got available. So as in the new ones, it's not ones that are being resold by other members. So you'll only have Alani, which I think still has availability. There's a few left at Copper Creek, and you've got Riviera.
Yeah.
So, but if you want any others,
what you want, isn't it?
Copper Creek.
I think if you go to Disney every year and you like to stay at the nicer resorts, I think it's definitely something to think about.
I had to admit, we were pricing it up first of all on staying off site.
Yeah.
We would, at the time when we were looking 2014, we'd never stayed on site.
Yeah.
And what made our decision, the next year we went and we stayed at All Star Music, and we thought we liked being on site. It didn't really think about deluxe resorts or anything else, but it was a resort we stayed at and thought we liked being able to be in a Disney bubble. And what we like the flexibility of is that we can now go 11 months and we go, oh, we'll book our home resort, which is Saratoga Springs. 7 months, we then get to see what else is available. So we've stayed in Boardwalk, Polly.
You're going to list them all now, aren't you?
I don't know if I can remember them. Copper Creek.
Animal Kingdom,
and Animal Kingdom, Kidani.
I'm jealous about Polly, 100%.
You know what? It is lovely. It really is.
And even if you want to try it out, have a look into renting some points out.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely would now that you guys have.
That's the only thing I, in a way, would probably change the way we did things. I wish we'd rented. Instead of doing that stay at All Star Music, maybe we rented points that year, just to a different resort. It's just a different way into it. And another benefit of DVC is parking. If you stay on points at your resort, you don't pay for parking
at your resort. You don't have to pay for parking at the parks, but you can just use the on-site buses and stuff to
transportation. And then if you do go direct route, so it's not as easy to go, we'll go resale or direct. If you look at direct, you've got the benefit, the extra perks of getting the discounted gold annual passes.
Your food and drink.
Your food, your drink, 20%, 10%. It's your Moonlight Magic events you get invited to. So it's working out what costs to you.
To certain other resorts.
And also...
Can I just clarify that there is costs on top, isn't there, if you own?
Yes. You have your annual dues to pay.
So it's like a leasehold, isn't it?
It's your maintenance. So
it's a leasehold maintenance contract that you pay whether you use your points or not that year. So if you say you were talking about
if I rented them out, I just want to make sure that I've rented them out more than what covers the dues.
Yeah. But if you were to bank your points for next year, for this year, and use them next year, you still pay. So you're paying for something you're not using.
Yes, but you will be using those points.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But
it may feel like you're paying for something that you're actually not using.
That's going to be the tough thing this December.
You can offset that, Claire. So the rental market tends to be roughly about twice the dues amount per point. So if the dues are £7 a point, they tend to rent for $14 a point. So if you say get enough points to go every year per se, but go every other year. So every other year you rent your points, and that pays your dues for 2 years. So in essence, your dues are paid for forever, and you've still got your points to use every other year. Yeah. And then if your contract never depreciates and you sell it for what you bought it for, that's where I'm getting at, where it's all free, which I love.
Yeah. I have to admit, we bought
get your money back.
Yeah, we bought our points at $84 a point. If we were to buy a resale now, it's same hotel, same sort of length of not length of time, but it finishes in 2054 for Saratoga. So technically now should be worth less, but it should be approximately $104 a point.
That's about right, Ben. Yeah, because they pop up on mine.
So it's actually going up in value.
So
rather than down.
If we did sell, we would make a profit.
And you know something, Ben? That's the hidden bit that is never totally apparent to you when you first see.
It's not an investment opportunity. It's just a bonus that Disney seem to. Everyone wants to say a Disney resort.
Yeah,
but when you look at it, if you give someone the option of paying what you pay, and it's not much more, it's I have to admit, it takes a lot of planning, and as we all know, we all like to plan.
A bit of a plan.
And we know we want to go to Disney every year, or every other year, or every few years.
Can you sell back to Disney?
Yes.
Yeah, and they'll give you the same.
You technically sell it to someone else, but Disney get right of first refusal. So they get 30 days to decide whether they buy it back for the price that you want. or whether you sell it to someone else.
Okay.
It's a really interesting economic proposal, isn't it? That actually you can make money.
Yeah, and throughout all of COVID, Disney did not buy a single property.
No.
Yep.
I need to go and have another conversation.
A conversation and look into
It's going to be expensive. I can feel it's going to be expensive.
It's like when we talked to the Watsons, and it was like we're going to Alani, the DVC, on a cruise. It was just like the whole
Vero Beach. I need to go to Vero Beach. It sounds
you
amazing.
can with DVC. It's a DVC resort.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, guys, people like us who are looking into renting points as a possible future. I mean, we've just been, as you always do, you go on the website and you go on the Disney website and you price up and you think, okay, I could stay at All Star Music for such and such. And then you look at points and you think, hang on, I could stay at Animal Kingdom Villas for the same cost. You know, where do you find out that sort of information? How do you go about looking up the costs and comparing?
On Disney's website, you can look up points charts, so you can work out how many points it is to stay at that place, at that resort. But I use a website called dvcrequest.com, and it's called David's DVC Rental. On there's a cost calculator. You type in, you choose your dates like you would on Disney's website, choose your resort, and you can choose between dollars it is to rent and how many points it is. So you can then compare that against what you found on Disney's website for staying at a different resort.
But you'd have to pay in dollars, presumably.
Yeah. And you can buy them off of...
you can rent them from other places, so Facebook groups, the Dib.
Yeah, I've rented every time off the Dib so far.
The only
if you know
thing...
somebody very nice that isn't going, they might tell you your points.
Yeah. And I've rented off bear in mind is having a contract set up wherewith it can be a difficult thing, especially with what's happened this year. It's not as easy to do. Depends on how nice the owner is of the points.
Yeah.
So sometimes using a David's DVC request as someone as a sort of
an intermediary
is a better option, because you have a contract, and generally what's come back from them has been like they will hold your points and you can reuse them on a resort for the next 2 years.
Yeah, they've given credit notes, haven't they? Whereas I think private renters may not. They're not bound to do that. So actually, you might give them your money, and then you can't travel, and you're left with nothing. And they've got your cash and their points back. Yeah. So I think going through, I would probably look to go through a third party like David's or someone like that, just for that security. I think more than anything.
Also, bizarrely enough, Disney do have an official Facebook group for DVC rental.
Oh, really?
All right.
Yep, it's actually official.
Wow.
Disney don't mention renting points, but there is a DVC official Facebook group.
That's very interesting.
It's one of those things.
Isn't it just, Claire? I've got to say that's I'm flabbergasted by that.
We've all learned something tonight.
I'm
going to rent privately.
But the other thing I'm trying to make the link as well, because actually in our previous show we talked about villas. We're talking tonight about DVC. We'll go on to talk about the actual buying of a hotel room on a per night basis, and possibly with a dining plan included or not or whatever. And then we've actually got something that I don't know. My whole mind here is being changed about how you go and plan a future holiday, because there's so many really good options here, and DVC, given the options, and I know, like Ben mentioned about talking to the Watsons on our previous episode, and that they've managed to really max out the value for their DVC points with the cruise, and certainly with Vero Beach.
They've even gone above us and gone for, instead of when they add on points, we've bought always at the same resort.
Yeah.
They bought at different resorts.
Yeah.
So because they always will want to make sure that they stay in a resort that's close to a park. So they've got, was it one in Boardwalk, one in...
Sure, if they want to find out, they should go and listen to the
listen to the episode.
Spoil it for them.
That's all right. It's a 2 hour long episode. I don't think I've spoiled it too much.
So, Ben, to get the 11-month window, do you just need 1 point in that hotel and then just add all your other points to it, or does it all the points have to be?
You
for
need
that
to
hotel?
have, so you could technically book when your 11-month window hits, you've got a 7-day. You can book 7 days at once as soon as it opens.
But you need all your points to be for that.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you could technically book one night and then add on, but you'd
Right.
need all your points. So it depends on how long your stay is. So Lloyd, you're going next May, aren't you?
Yeah.
And if you've got a hotel preference, if you absolutely desperately love the Poly and you only ever want to stay at the Poly, buy at the Polynesian.
Yeah.
If you're not that fussed on where you stay or you want to try all of them, which is what we did, we want to try all of them. Okay. Or I want to try all of them.
Sort of 2 weeks in May. What we're looking at, resort Lake Tower, Lakeview. If you stayed in a studio, the cost of that to rent is $5,130 for 2 weeks.
What's that in points, though, Ben?
In points,
I'll tell you what, I got my
270. But that's for 2 weeks.
That's for 2 weeks. That's good. It'd probably be almost.
What did you say in dollars?
5,130.
So going on the point cost, which I rented my points for, which is about the average you get from the UK. So it's 3,240 quid for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's not bad, is it?
No.
And you can get deals as well if you keep it. If you've come to the end and there's availability, and if people want to get rid of the points, you can get.
They can drop down to 20% off.
2014, I got my Grand Floridian Villa points that I rented for £7 a point.
And that's when the dollar was worth something as well.
Yeah, and then even 2017, I only paid, what was it, £8 or £9 a point for my Animal Kingdom Lodge points as well.
Okay, here we go. Staying at that resort on Disney's website.
Will be contemporary.
Yeah.
So don't actually.
No, there we go. £5,027.
Okay.
Right, so you can
rent.
Saving nearly $2,000.
Yeah. And you get your kitchenette. You get your top of the world lounge at Bay Lake Tower.
Sorry, like Lloyd, the £3,000 thing, like for renting, is that off the site that Ben was talking about?
No, that's based on Ben told me the amount of points it takes. Ben was basically renting from them and gave a dollar figure.
Yeah.
But mine is based on the amount of I roughly pay in this time for DVC points is around 12 quid, give or take. So on the amount of points Ben gave, gives you about $3,000. So it's always worth.
It's generally a little bit lower at the minute because everyone's trying to sell their points or rent their points out because not everyone can travel. I'd say on average now it's probably about £15 a point.
Okay.
Yeah, I managed to snap my Saratoga Springs ones for May for 12 quid a point, but that was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's the options there for a lot of people, and I have to admit we've never looked back. As soon as we bought in 2016 and the resorts we've stayed in, because we thought, we're staying in Saratoga every year. We've not done that. We haven't stayed there once.
We like Saratoga. Part of the reason we bought Saratoga is because we liked Saratoga.
Yeah. And it's a calculation during working out the dues. The dues were actually quite cheap for Saratoga compared to others. So,
do you know, I actually think that fits in perfectly from our previous show. You know, it's like episode 26, and we're talking about my castle is a villa, and the villa stay is a very similar situation, and we talked at length on that. We've now talked on DVC, and I've got to say, I'm really intrigued, and get your calculator out, guys, because it's a close run thing.
Right, so joining us today for our Carousel of Questions, we have Paul and Cheryl from That UK Disney Couple and from Saturday Night Discussions on YouTube.
Hey guys, you all right?
Hi. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, yeah. Coping, I think.
Yeah, we're good, we're good.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on. Really looking forward to this. We've, as we said, we tried to avoid listening to what our other fellow Saturday Night Discussion co-hosts have said, so we don't end up copying their answers. So we're looking forward to then going back and seeing what they said. So, yeah.
Okay, so Carousel of Questions. We've got 14 questions. They are quick fire, but you can have different answers. So it'll be interesting to see whether both sort of, you say the same thing. So let's start with the first question.
When I say
Favourite?
quick fire, don't and R about it.
Okay, I'll
know when
try.
you're right.
I'll try.
If you want to, you can expand on your answers if you've got a reason.
Okay.
But expand after, not before.
Okay, question 1. Favourite park?
Epcot.
Magic Kingdom.
Question 2. Ride that you hate.
Ride that I hate.
Tower of Terror.
Ride that I hate. Ride that I hate. I don't know. It's not.
While you're thinking about it, Tower of Terror.
Or severely dislike.
I severely dislike Tower of Terror because although I've never done it, it's the idea of plummeting 200 feet to my death. Because I'm convinced the brakes on that thing will fail and I will end up as a pancake on the bottom of the ride. That's why it's so bad for me that everyone's Saturday night discussions decided to egg me into doing a charity ride.
Yep.
I'm probably going to go with a ride that I've not done. Probably Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay.
Just because I haven't done it, it goes upside down. I don't want to go upside down.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul, on Tower of Terror. It's not one I've done, but it's not one that I'd like to do.
Yeah, we
I don't do well with heights.
I was going to say we affectionately on our channel called it Tower of Never. Because my intention was to never do it.
And now you have to.
Yeah, now I've got no chance. So I have to do it. Yes, can't wait.
Question 3. Most overrated snack?
Overrated snack.
Dole Whip.
Overrated? You think that's overrated?
I love a Dole Whip, but I think it's massively overrated.
I was
It
gonna
is just washed up pineapple juice with ice cream.
I was going to say Mickey shaped pretzel. Because it's just a pretzel.
They're quite dry as well, aren't they?
They look dry.
They can't be
Yeah.
We had one. I think it was on our first trip and we haven't had one since.
Yeah, it looks dry. And I'm pretty sure when we had it on our first trip, it was dry. I'm pretty sure I feared actually hitting an animal with it in Animal Kingdom and knocking them out. So, yeah.
That lasso around.
Or as well, oh, you look hungry. Oh, Christ, I've killed that animal.
Do not feed the animals.
The only one that looks good is the jalapeno stuffed cheese pretzel.
Yeah, so I can't have jalapeno spice.
Not a fan of
Yeah.
jalapenos.
I've
Don't
got
mind
stomach
spice.
condition, so I was going to say stomach condition means spicy stuff for me is a massive no-go unless my lovely wife is carrying around a stash of my medication to stop me from being ill.
Okay, question 4. Favourite transportation mode in Walt Disney World?
Monorail.
Monorail.
Who doesn't love monorail? It's quite
People who are about to fall out the doors of a broken monorail, I don't know.
It's just an extra ride, isn't it? You just got to hold on.
It's genuinely an extra ride. There's no way around it. Yeah.
No. It'd be nice when they can replace the actual monorail. Sort of be
With
good.
new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need a bit of
Don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
I haven't done the Skyliner yet. I think I'd love to do the Skyliner.
Yeah, I think we reserve judgment until we've been able to try it. So
But as Riviera owners, I can't wait to actually have to use it because it's from our BBC resort. So,
Yeah. Skyliner is awesome. We
Oh.
did that.
No, you did.
No. We did that competition. So we did a race on our last trip. We went from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, and you did the Friendship Boat, and I did the Skyliner.
ooh,
And it was
He
about
won,
I won
but-
about 5 minutes, about a few minutes to spare.
wow.
sounds like a challenge
To be-
issue.
To be fair, the boat was right there. Originally, I'd planned to walk.
I see, right. So actually walking might have been quicker, but we'll never know.
No, we'll
Try
try
that
that next time.
Okay. Question 5. Favourite table service restaurant?
Oh.
Table service. Do you include like character dining?
Yes.
Yeah, the Garden Grill, I think.
If you're going to say Garden Grill, I'm going to say Trattoria Fauna.
Yeah, and I did enjoy that one as well.
Yeah, I have a real affinity for both. So actually, I'm glad Cheryl said Garden Grill because that saves me having to pick that one over Trattoria Fauna.
I probably would have said Trattoria if he had said Garden Grill.
We both love those so much. The Trattoria Al Forno food was amazing, but the interaction with the cast and the princesses was just second to none. We've not had an interaction like that outside of Garden Grill.
Yeah.
See, told you we should do it.
Yeah, we've both had those on our list for a
Both on our
while.
bucket list.
We've just never got around to it, and we're supposed to have done them this year.
Yeah, couldn't recommend them highly enough, Ben. I'd definitely do them.
Okay, question 6. Resort you haven't stayed at but want to more than anything else on earth?
Riviera.
Contemporary Bay Lake Tower with a theme park view.
Very good choice.
I just went for Rocking Resort.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to go to Riviera, but we're going to. But for me, the opportunity to sit there and watch the fireworks from Bay Lake Tower with a theme park view and have the music playing on in the room, not have to worry about anybody with iPads, is a real plus for me.
Yeah. It'd be quite nice when fireworks come back. They'll hopefully be socially distanced.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to stand next to one another too much.
Yeah. But I like standing next to you. You'll do.
Okay. Question 7. Favourite car park?
Car park. As in the theme park?
Car park.
Any Walt Disney World?
Typhoon Lagoon.
I quite like Disney Springs because it's multi-story, because it's covered over. So when you get back in the car, it's not hot.
I like the Typhoon Lagoon because the minute you get into Typhoon Lagoon's entranceway, you feel like it's being themed already. And I think the best experience we had of that was H2O Glow Nights. Yeah. That's when I thought this feels like the theming starts before the park. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've not experienced many car parks because we haven't driven out there yet. So.
I mean, driving is something which we only tried a few years back because we wanted to go outside and do a little bit more. And it's kind of that ever challenging decision of, do you need to hire a car or do you not? But the year we did hire the car direct from Sanford, we were in Disney by 3:15.
Oh wow,
nice.
After landing with TUI, we were premium economy, so we got straight off the plane. I think we were 6th in line through immigration. It was straight out into a car, and yeah, we didn't break speed limits. We didn't go over the top. We were in Disney though by 3:15 in our room, and we were unpacked and ready to go to the theme park by 3:45.
Nice.
Yeah, we've sort of decided for a car sort of this year because of COVID. We thought we didn't really want to do the Magical Express. We weren't sure what was going to be running, whether buses to the parks and things. It's
the idea of having to wait even longer for the buses at opening and closing.
Yeah. I mean, even the year that we hired the car from the car care centre.
Car care centre, which is really good.
That is really good as well. So if you're thinking I only need a car for Park My Stay, that's a great option because you can pick it up in one place and drop it off elsewhere. Sort of like pick it up at the Swan and drop it off at the car care.
But they also, if you are hiring from the car care centre, they actually do an express shuttle service from your resort to the car care centre every hour. So when we were at Coronado, I think the car came by every 20 past the hour and picked us up, took us to the car care centre, and then when you drop the car off, they take you back to your resort or wherever you want to go. So we ended up going to Typhoon Lagoon from car care centre.
Nice. I think I might know the answer to this next one, given your last answer. But Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach, or Volcano Bay?
Volcano Bay.
Or not?
Yeah, Volcano Bay is a breathtaking water park.
It really is. It's a very relaxing but fun day. I think Typhoon Lagoon out of the two Disney parks, like two Disney water parks, because you've never done Blizzard.
No.
So we can't really compare it. But previously, when I've been to Blizzard Beach, I don't know, just the world didn't seem like there was enough to do, and they need to do more in the park.
I think I'd probably say I'm slightly torn between Volcano Bay daytime and H2O Glow Nights at Typhoon Lagoon.
You can't keep choosing
I can keep choosing them because H2O Glow Nights was absolutely amazing. For what we paid for that and the entertainment we got and how good it was. Yeah. If somebody said to me, you can go to Volcano Bay for $50 each or go to H2O Glow Nights for less for $50 each, I'd snatch their hand off for H2O at Typhoon Lagoon every single time.
I have to admit, Typhoon Lagoon, when it's closed is really good because we did the Moonlight Magic.
Yep.
A couple of years back.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Because we're not really water park people. It's just, to me, I'd rather go and spend time at the pool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't really use the resort pools, do we? We tend to go more to the actual water parks, but we aren't really water park people. We set a day aside for it to say we've done one.
But we'll only do like the equivalent of half a day.
Yeah, and it'll be followed up by going to the shopping outlets or maybe half a park day Disney Springs. We'll try and mix it in with something else, and we keep an eye on the weather while we're out there to see whether we need to change anything around at the same time.
Yeah, it's always good to put the rest day, and that's normally what our water park day was.
Yeah.
When we did them.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. Question 9, Galaxy's Edge or Diagon Alley?
Diagon Alley.
Come on, Ben. You should have seen this.
I know. I knew that.
That's me, my friend. We're in the same group chat. You know we're not Star Wars people, but I think for me, I can understand why people obsess over Galaxy's Edge and how good it is. For me, where we love Diagon Alley is that the resemblance between what they've managed to do at Universal and what the actual Diagon Alley is in Elstree Studio at the Warner Brothers Harry Potter tour, that's where I kind of say that for me is the impression, and even the work, the down to levels of detail. That's why I just think that place is so much more impressive for me than Galaxy's Edge.
I think it's also more relatable.
Yeah.
We did the studio tour first time last year.
Yeah.
And it was like when we saw Gringotts. And it's like, oh, this is the same as in Universal.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, we did the tour 3 years ago, and then we've done it again this year, and it's changed quite a bit since they've added more. And yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the Gringotts edition, even if I can get my words out, the Gringotts edition, I think is a brilliant addition to that place and just adds so much more value for money to that tour. I would highly recommend anybody who gets a chance to go to it goes to it. But we kind of got the early bookings. I know Gaz and Ange got the late booking, and they had a totally different experience to us. But whenever you get to go, just if anybody who's listening gets to go and take their time, then do make sure you take your time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no. When we did last year, we spent hours just walking around. Yeah. It's just you're not rushed. That's the good thing about it. Is you got your time slot to go in, but the rest of it you can take as long as you want.
Yeah.
Question 10. Early morning or late night park visit?
Early morning.
Early morning, yeah.
I was going to say, in normal circumstances, Cheryl and I are both very early risers for our jobs. Obviously, that's a little bit different at the minute because I'm laying in bed till 8:30 each morning. But we tend to find that we are easier to get up earlier in Florida, get a little bit of the cooler weather when it's cooler in the morning. And then we'll go back to our hotel room, won't we?
Yeah, we tend to have a siesta, whether that's a case of go back for shower, freshen up, change, or just go back for a snooze.
And we'll stay a little bit later in the parks, but we're never really the last people out of the parks. It's just not. We prefer to be first people in the parks and last people out.
Yeah, put that jet lag to good use.
Yes,
especially the first few days.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been known for me to wake up at 3 a.m. at one point.
Yeah,
despite staying up till 11 the night before. I'm terrible because I think one of the years, because my job involves me travelling up and down the UK, and I have to sometimes be up here at 4 a.m. And I think just before we went a couple of years back, I'd had to go to Wales. So the day before, I was up at about 4 a.m. And it took me right into Florida. And I was like, oh, great, I'm up at a ridiculous hour.
For me, it's travel day. I'm so excited on travel day. When we went in June 2019, I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, ready to watch the planes kind of land.
Yeah, I really loved her that day.
Yeah, I mean, I was a joy that day. Not only was I super excited, but I was full of cold. So
we had an interesting experience last year, because we went on the week that the clocks change in the US.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I woke up, which I thought was 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then when thought, do you know, it's too early, let's go back to sleep, wake up, it's still 2 o'clock. An hour later, because obviously the hour had gone back.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 3, okay, go back another hour, and then in the end we just put the TV on and just watch vlogs on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me, I love the fact that when you're up that time in the morning, you can watch American telly. And for me, it's the American adverts, and it's the health insurance adverts. I mean, that's a whole conversation for another time, but they're what helps me get through the day. Dan Newlin, he just gets people money.
For me, it's the adverts when you're watching the programme, and then you have this, all of a sudden, they're trying to sell their cars, their vehicles, their trucks. There's always a dog.
The Bill Selks dog. Claremont of Orlando.
That's it, Claremont of Orlando.
Yeah, little Bill Selks dog.
Yeah, little Bill Sykes dog. And it's just the fact that, that you're more interested in the dog than you are actually the car.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's the drug adverts. I just love the list of side effects, including death.
Yeah, you may die, you may suffer arm loss. Your face may melt into a pile of wax. You may lose all your facial hair. You might just lose an armpit. It's the thing. Your kneecaps may turn inside out. What other health warnings can you have as part of these? We've got a couple of friends from the US that are like, honestly, you just can't pay attention to them because otherwise you'll never take anything. So it's like,
I wonder what the COVID vaccine is going to be like. There's going to be like an advert for it, and it's going to go on for
There will be.
be half an hour. But
Reeling off the side effects from this drug, you might actually get COVID.
anyway.
Moving on swiftly.
Question 11. Keep the magic or backstage detail?
Keep the magic.
Keep the magic.
So have you done any of these sort of tours before?
No.
I wouldn't mind doing it, but I think I'd like to prolong the knowledge of that as late as possible into our Disney life. I think for me, I like not knowing everything. I mean, you know enough, don't you? If you're Disney fans like you guys are, and as much as we guys are, and as much as I'd imagine people who are listening or watching, whatever the case may be, you know, from that side of thing, people kind of have a rough idea what happens anyway. But I think from that aspect, I don't think it hurts not to know. I think sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of magic kept behind.
It's a case of once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So I think once, like, if we were to do the tour that includes the Utilidors, I think once I know they're there, I'm going to be constantly looking like, I wonder who I'm walking with.
Whose head am I putting on?
That's like when we watched the Imagineering story.
Yes.
And it's, you see everything and it's great, but then it's like, it's nice that they still keep the magic there as well. So it's like, because you're not experiencing it completely.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Okay, question 12. Favourite other podcast or vlogger about Disney?
Oh, Part of Our World. So love Part of Our World podcast. Love Keenan and Rachel. We were really fortunate to be on their podcast before we went June last year, and it was when Avengers Endgame came out. Absolutely love being on there. In terms of other vloggers, I mean, we've got quite a few, so I don't want to kind of leave anybody out. I mean, we've obviously got the rest of the Saturday Night Discussions crew, Gaz and Anne, Sean, Zoe, Dougal, Nathan.
I think we've found, though, as we've kind of gone through the years of vlogging ourselves, we actually spend more time watching the little, like ourselves,
I think
smaller channels. Whilst, you know, there's still like the big names out there, it's like they're out there all the time. So we're watching the smaller ones more often.
But we try and catch whoever we can. I think that's the first thing, because we know there's a lot of people. We're very fortunate. We've got a lot of people who support us, and we're very keen to make sure we support everyone. I mean, like you guys, we love you guys to bits as well. So it's whatever we can do to help other people who support us. And it's, you know, especially in this time when, you know, there might be nothing on telly, we'll just chuck YouTube on and we'll see who's next in the playlist and who we've got amongst the hundreds of channels that we've got on our subscription list. So,
I have to admit, we've been watching so much more YouTube this year than what we've done previously, because there's not much on TV apart from COVID news and just everyone's sick of it.
I swear that list is getting longer by the day.
Our subscriptions.
List.
I mean, I dread to think, like, we have like subscription feeds, and I think a little while ago YouTube got sick of it and just reset our list to watch. So, you know, you get your subscription feed, it went back a little bit. I was like, oh, right, I need to watch some of these, or kind of clear the ones we're not overly interested in, like some of the stuff which people weren't really giving us too much. So we were kind of clearing a few off that were on there, and all of a sudden the list just went blank. And YouTube still can't tell me why the list went blank. So we now got to go back to people's channels and kind of watch manually. So it's fine. It's fine.
Basically, you broke Watch Later.
I broke Watch Later. Never mind.
I used to watch Tim Tracker religiously every day. But I have to admit, sort of since this year, we've just sort of
branched out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, there's plenty of other American, Florida resident bloggers out there that we do watch.
Love Jackie.
Prince Charming Dev.
I think the thing is, like, we're really fortunate. We know Jackie and we kind of know Nate relatively well through Saturday Night. So I think we're fortunate that we know those guys. And if we needed to do anything or needed to know anything, we kind of tap those guys up. So we're fortunate from that side. But I can't stress hard enough, and I think you guys said it, there are so many really, really good content creators out there that are smaller, that aren't recognised. You know, I'll take Gaz and Anne as a prime example. You know, their cinematic stuff with Harry Potter was nothing short of absolutely outstanding. But, you know, these people need to get seen. And, as anybody knows, it doesn't just happen overnight being seen, and it takes time for people to find your videos. But there's definitely people out there just
sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely, like for us, that was exactly what happened to us. Right place, right time with our June travel day, and that's all we've ever put it down to.
Yep.
No magic formula.
No.
Okay, question 13: on-site or off-site?
On site. I've been fortunate enough in my youth to be able to try a villa and off site in a hotel, and only with Paul we done on site.
You're welcome.
So yeah, thank you. We've also only ever stayed in the same hotel.
Yeah, I mean, we stayed in Cabana Bay. So in terms of if you're talking on site and resorts generally, I would say we prefer to stay on site because previously all came with all these perks. But I would now say that with the changes that are happening and the way that perks are not always readily available, like your extra magic hours, like your magic bands that they've removed or anything like that, I think we wouldn't be adverse to looking at off-site as much.
I think we've done a mixture of on-site and off-site and it's one of those things we've worked out, like resort fees.
Yeah.
Always been a difficult thing to add into when you're off-site as well, and then parking. It's obviously you now got to park at Disney as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the DVC. Obviously, when you're a DVC member, you don't have to pay for the fees to park at the DVC resorts.
As long as you're using DVC points.
As long as you're using DVC points. But again, that's something that we still need to try. We will get there.
Yep. Next year was always the plan anyway, so it's just as and when next year we get to use it.
Exactly.
You'll get there and you'll love it.
Hope so. Fingers crossed. Genuinely fingers crossed.
Yeah. We've got a stay boat to Riviera next year, and we've got 4 nights booked at the Poly.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
So, and we've decided to do Universal in the middle, so it's going to be Cabana Bay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The Volcano Bay view room.
That's the plan.
Oh, yeah. You've got to. There's no other way to do Cabana Bay. No other one.
That's the plan. It's like we looked at Endless Summer and thought, because let's just do it the cheapest, because we're not sure. We're Universal, we just spend all the time in the parks.
Yeah.
We've not stayed at on-site Universal before, so
new experiences.
Yeah.
I would definitely say if you can do the Volcano Bay view room, if you're not spending any time in the park, at least you've got that amazing view to look at. I still can't believe when we got there in June of 2019 and we pulled back the curtains, and I think my reaction time was, oh my God, it was just, it hits you like a ton of bricks, because you're just like, oh wow, you don't just see the volcano, you see all the way down I-4, way out towards, on a clear day, you actually see out towards Disney as well. So
yeah, and that's that little bit of like teasing, is that you can see the Epcot ball just kind of like glaring at you from the distance.
It's a little bit gut wrenching when you're not actually going to Disney.
Yeah.
So, never mind.
It's one of those things you see it every day. It's like, oh, that'd be quite nice. But yeah, so we've done, when we stayed at Bay Lake Tower, we did Lakeview, and you could see Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios all from there.
Yeah.
All from our balcony, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I'm looking forward to, because with a lot of the other resort hotels, you don't get a balcony. It would be nice of an evening, because if you're not feeling like going to a park or Disney Springs, to be able to sit on your balcony, have a drink, just chill for a while. So
it's nice for breakfast in the morning as well.
I can imagine so. Yeah. SeaWorld.
I love waking up having a cup of coffee out on those balconies.
I was going to say we watch SeaWorld soon a lot, and actually they're kind of our inspiration for starting our YouTube channel. And we saw their videos when they became DVC and what they were doing on their balcony in the mornings, in the evenings, at Bay Lake Tower, and it was like, yeah, that's the dream a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I don't think there's any sort of rooms on DVC that haven't got balconies.
Yeah. Even the Tower Studio rooms at DVC have got a small, like, metre square area that they call a balcony. So.
If I can stand out there, I will.
Yes. Oh, look at that wonderful car park.
I'll stand there with my bowl of cereal. It's kind of like, I will enjoy this.
Oh no, I've dropped the cereal over the side.
And it's falling on someone's head.
Yes. Never mind.
Sorry, down there.
Okay, and the last question. Festival of the Lion King or Finding Nemo the musical?
Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Festival of Lion King. We haven't seen it for a few years.
No, but I still get emotional at Festival of Lion King.
Yeah.
I just can't see me getting emotional at Nemo.
No. Don't think we've seen Nemo, have we?
We've seen enough to know.
Yeah.
We've done Nemo twice, and Festival of Lion King's always been sort of our favourite. It's been a funny one for our show, because when we did it, we did that question back in April, and it was a even split between all 8 of us.
Really?
Yeah, 4 and 4.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I've got to be honest. I've seen enough about the Nemo show to know it's not massive interest for me. But Festival of Lion King again.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about other shows that are in the other parks, because I would probably put other shows above those 2.
Yeah. But that's not the point of this, Cheryl.
I know.
I can't. You can't just change the question you've been asked.
I know.
No, I won't let you.
What one would you put above Festival of the Lion King?
What would I put?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Frozen sing-along.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
blame Nathan Slade.
Yeah, we blame Nathan for that.
The man-child.
What other ones there are? Because there aren't any in the. There's none in the Magic Kingdom, is there? There's no show.
Not unless you include Philomagic, which isn't really a stage show.
No, it's actually a stage
or
show.
Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, that's very much on the spot, but it's not, again, real kind of out front actors, is it, to be honest?
And then we've got the, I think it's Mickey's Friendship Fair, which is out on the front.
Yeah. Castle Show.
The Castle Show.
Wouldn't say Beauty and the Beast. Indiana Jones Stunt Action Show, I don't think
it's not really
would top those. But no, I think Cheryl's, for me, Lion King, I think is out of those 2. But Frozen Sing Along is just as good entertainment.
There we go. So you've answered all the Carousel of Questions.
Woo!
So
now you can go back and listen to everybody else's answers.
No, well, that's the thing. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to start listening at Nathan's, Zoe's, Gaz and Andrew's.
So where can our listeners find you on sort of your social medias and YouTube?
All right. Should we start with us then?
Yes.
So if you want to find us on YouTube, we are That UK Disney Couple. If you want to find us on Instagram, Cheryl runs that, which is
That UK Disney Couple.
You can find us on Facebook, which is also That UK Disney Couple, and an email if you really choose to go through that route, which is actually preferable for some people. It's That UK Disney Couple @gmail.com. Failing that, we do have a second channel, which is Paul and Cheryl The Savage Life. That does have some stuff on it, which is non-Disney, but you can always, as Ben and Becca very kindly said at the start, you can find us every Saturday night at 8 o'clock on the car crash that is Saturday Night Discussions, and hopefully one day we'll get these guys on as our guests. But yeah, no, it's that's where people can find us. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. There we go.
Thank you very much.
So, home is where the heart is, and DVC is a home where the magic lives. Hearing that most desired greeting of a sincere welcome home at DVC has stirred some once dormant feelings and silenced the moans. The wafflers all afluster and puzzled, mused deep in thought. What does that special place and its sublime cast really stand for? Maybe Disney magic doesn't come from a park or from a store. Maybe perhaps it means a whole lot more. And what happened then? Well, in Waffleville, they say, all the wafflers' hearts grew 3 sizes that day. We may not visit soon, but we will return, they all cheered. And in the meantime, we'll share our podcast with all our faithful waffle ears. The same Disney dreams and wonder are all around us, and the tale is not all that tragic. We've got each other, we've got YouTube, and there's always Here with the Magic. Ben, could you tell everyone where they can find us?
So yeah, you can find all our podcasts on your favourite podcast app. So you've got Stitcher, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple, Spotify. And also you can find us on our YouTube channel, the Great British Mickey Waffle, which you're probably watching this on right now. And also you can find us all on social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at GB Mickey Waffle.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. So you'll all be relieved to hear that's the end of my Christmas sermon. All that's left to say is take care of each other. We'll all be back there at some point, and we'd all like to wish you a very festive
Waffle!
So anyone else about to say Merry Christmas?
Yeah.